T minus 30 seconds. T minus 20 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
LadyChann! Fight!
Yo, LadyChann, and welcome to this. It looks like this laptop. This is, hang on, technicality still. Come on, come on. I'm low. Hang on. Check, check, check. I don't know why I keep doing this recently. I've got something that will boost signal. But I didn't have time just to quickly snap it on. Check, check. Very low. Check, check. That's really low. I wonder why. Muy interesante. Check, check, check. I think that might be. Check, check. I don't know. I think that might be okay. It's whatever the weather. I'll be competitor, whatever. Anyway, yo, how you going? It's LadyChann, and welcome to members only. Come box with Shan. We're in the booty. It is Andrew H in the Buddhism, Monica Boxing in the Buddhism, Don Juan in the Buddhism, Ben Adams in the Buddhism, Stephen T in the Buddhism, ERF Boxing in the Buddhism, Mark in the Buddhism, Slim Boxing Commentary in the Buddhism, Mark Niggity Nash in the Buddhism, Dub Brightside in the Buddhism, Artilette in the Buddhism, D Style in the Buddhism, Devil Beats in the Buddhism, Jimmy McClenley in the Buddhism, Ringside a Reporter Live in the Buddhism, Queen Lisa Bells in the Buddhism, AJ All Day in the Buddhism, Charlo in the Buddhism, King TJ RIP in the Buddhism, Aplotype El Primero Ya Tu Sabes. Wrong with just interrupting me. See, and then it picks up signal again. Okay, Ricky Ricardo, mi hermano. In the Buddhism. King Boxing, what up, LadyChann? In the Buddhism. Pitbull in the Buddhism. Boxing God in the Buddhism. Damn. Check, check. I wonder what it is. Keeps going. Zada in the Buddhism. Sports Heaven, what up, King? In the Buddhism. Don Wani in the Buddhism. Ahmed in the Buddhism. Hector Garcia, mi esposo número uno. In the Buddhism. Zandai in the Buddhism. Donald Banks GP in the Buddhism. Con Shaunery in the Buddhism. Karma Serene the Queen in the Buddhism. And last but not least, Al Money in the Buddhism. Shouts out to you guys. Members growing. I don't know what's happening to my soundboard. What up, Dal King of Kings? What up, Dal? In the Buddhism. What up, LadyChann? Lisa Bells. What up, sis? The Queen. What up, Dal? Lisa Bells in the Buddhism. Do you know what I might just do, actually? I'll shoot y'all to join and have a chat with our guests, actually. So here's the link I'm going to put. So I've got a question. So we've got our lovely guest Steve Kim for the next like 50 minutes. So let me just, you can come up, guys, if you want. I'm gonna kickstart off. Let me just quickly put the banner up. Sorry, my bad, Steve, my bad. It's us sort round three. Why I say it's round three? Because me and Steve did Twitter first, and then we did two of these. LadyChann and Steve Kim in the building. Round three. I love that link. If you want to come up, you can come up, but it's up to y'all. I know sometimes people are working. My audience is US. All right, I'm introducing, 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 nah, Steve Kim. Ding, 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 ding.
LadyChann, how you doing?
It keeps my mic, as you can hear, it keeps going in and out. I don't know. I think maybe it's the audio processors or something on it. So annoying, but you know, we'll work with it. It keeps, so if you hear me dip, it's because the board keeps losing signal for some reason. I have no idea why. But hey, I'm good. How are you, sir?
I am doing well. What's on your mind?
Okay, what's on my mind? Boxing. Ugh, annoying. I'm trying to get it off my mind. It doesn't work. I tried to purge myself, but this week's been a bit boring, a little bit. But let me just get my notes up. Has been a little bit because there wasn't any major fights. The weekend just gone. So, and I know there was a Zapata fought, but I didn't watch it. So I'm slacking, Steve. I'm slacking. I feel like I'm turning into a casual. I need to buck up. I need to buck right up. Where's my pen? Okie dokes. So where we last left off was we was talking about Joshua going to fight Jermaine Franklin. So now we saw that fight happen maybe about two weeks ago. I was just wondering what your point of view is.
Let's go, baby! Let's go!
In the Buddhism. Tell me, Steve. What did you think? Because I wanted a knockout, so I wasn't too happy.
Well, look, the fight was the fight. What I find interesting is that coming into the year, everyone said that Anthony Joshua was going to have a developmental year. It was not going to be about the money. It was going to be about the fighter and not the business.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be about boxing. So after this fight, I said, okay, got some rounds in. And then a short time later, they go right back to the business by saying, oh, no, we're going to go back right to Deontay Wilder in December. So no other fight in between. I'm thinking, here we go again. But then Joe Markowski of the Zone says, no. He's part of our summer schedule. So I'm a little bit confused about who runs this business, who's in charge. And again, are we doing business or is this going to be about boxing at all? Because I'm not going to lie to you, LadyChann. It feels like a cash out if they go straight to Wilder.
That's what I'm thinking. I think they're all cashing out. Fury's cashing out. Wilder's cashing out. Usyk's cashing out, and Joshua's cashing out. I feel that is because, like you said, it's supposed to be a developmental year. But Eddie Hearn didn't rule out that July was still going to happen. But if July does happen, do we really want to see? Do we want to see Dillian White? We don't really need to see.
No, I mean, good grief! Talk about that's like a really bad movie. That's not a bad movie, but that's a movie that nobody asked for a sequel to. Let's get somebody new. By the way, speaking of heavyweight news, I'm hearing more and more that Zhang Zhilei might actually get the fight with Tyson Fury.
I know, I'm hearing that over Andy Ruiz.
Sign me up for some of that. I like that fight. It could even happen in Macau, by the way. And I didn't know Macau was back open for business. But going back to Anthony Joshua, look, I think the 12 rounds that he got against Jermaine Franklin was actually beneficial. He needed to get his toe back into the pond.
Yeah.
And look, Deontay Wilder himself has not fought a lot the last year and a half. Let's just be honest. He went right around 2 minutes and 59 seconds against Robert Helenius. And it was more than a year layoff from the third Fury fight.
Right.
So, maybe they're thinking, you know what? Let's try to catch Anthony Joshua. Let's try to match him with Deontay Wilder as cold as possible. But there's just so many mixed messages. And this goes once again, the Anthony Joshua career, unfortunately, it became a business before he became a full-form fighter. It's been highly successful. It's been very, very lucrative. But, I would also argue, you know what? If you would have had him as a better, more developed fighter, it could have been more money. So if it's just about the money, I get it. But I could also argue you would have been better off in the long run with the money if you would have taken your time a little bit. I am not a big believer in fighters going twice a year with less than 20 fights, especially if they're not the guys like a Cuban fighter that have these long amateur careers, which Anthony Joshua really didn't.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you because I think AJ had like 42 Ami fights.
Yes.
Not too much. And I think Wilder had about 38 or 35, 34, something like that. So, yeah, they've just both come from non-extensive amateur careers. We're going to talk about Wilder in a bit. God. God. There's more excitement outside the ring, mate. Right, that's going on. The young and the restless, the bold and the beautiful, the locked up starring aka Akon. They've locked up. You can't get me out. Wilder, this is just craziness. I saw your article on it as well, and I couldn't believe it when I saw that. But we're going to get onto that. So so with Jermaine Franklin, I just want you to go through the technical. What did you see with the fight? Was you impressed? Did you see any type of change? I saw the only thing I saw, the engine was better with Anthony Joshua, but I don't know if that's because Jermaine Franklin is not one of those types of people that presses the action, or maybe he's been sharpened up by going 24 rounds with an Alexander Usyk that would keep you on your toes. So even though you lose, you go into your next fight a bit better because you've been sharpened by someone that's so fast and you've had to think like a million thoughts a minute. So did you see any improvements, or did you see any regression? Or
I saw a guy that was relatively patient. Some would say hesitant. Some would see a guy that's seeing ghosts. I've thought for a long time that the Klitschko fight in 2017 forever altered him. That, the first time a fighter really gets hurt, they can go two ways. They can get through it and become a tougher fighter, or one that becomes more hesitant. And to me, it's been the latter with AJ. I think there's a lot of evidence for that. The Anthony Joshua loss to Andy Ruiz certainly didn't help things. But look, he needed those rounds back because he hasn't had a lot of developmental rounds. I said before the fight, that's the type of fight he needed 5-6 years ago, in between a lot of these stadium fights. I don't think it was a horrible performance, but will he ever be that crowd-pleasing guy that'll hit through guys aggressively again? I get the sense that's not going to be the case, that Anthony Joshua no longer exists, but he's going to have to be a fighter that works behind the jab and really be patient and win fights round at a time and be methodical about it. And that's what he was against Franklin. So,
yeah.
I mean, I don't think it was a terrible performance, but if you compare it to what he was right around 2017 and 18, I don't think we're seeing the same guy.
No.
Hated it.
Oh, no.
Men on film.
Remember them? That was hilarious. Shouts out to, I wish that was still back on. Was that in Living Colour? It was.
Living Colour, one of the great sketch shows of all time. Their first 3 years were incredible.
Keenan Ivory, Wayans,
Jim Carrey, young Jamie Foxx. J-Lo was one of the dancers.
Yeah,
great cast.
Yeah, that was J-Lo. Yeah, J-Lo was one of the dancers. But I always disagree when people say that they saw a change with AJ with the Klitschko fight. I saw the change when it was the first Ruiz loss. His first loss with Ruiz. That's when I've seen him. I don't think that Klitschko one that he got knocked down and he mustered his way to get a win. I didn't see any. So hang on. After Klitschko, he went on a run. So I mean, I don't think you saw Who did he go after Klitschko? It was Klitschko, then
Well, he fought guys like Joseph Parker.
Parker was after Klitschko. Yeah,
I mean,
Parker. Yeah,
look,
he went the distance with Parker, though, didn't he? So.
yeah, and that was a snoozer. I mean, look,
Yeah.
the reality is, post Klitschko, he's had more snoozers than fights that you would want to rewatch.
True.
That's the reality.
True.
And that doesn't mean he hasn't been effective. That doesn't mean he's not a good boxer. But there have been a lot of fights. Even Kubrat Pulev, at the time he knocked him out, it looked a lot like Klitschko, because the Klitschko, specifically Vladimir, during his long championship run, a lot of late round knockouts were for 9.5 rounds. You're bored to death.
We've had to admit. But I like the Klitsch. I mean, I like the Pulev fight. I liked the Pulev fight because what I've noticed with Anthony Joshua, he has to just hate you. He has to dislike you for any fire to be, all the embers to be, reignited. Because with Pulev, if you remember that the lead up to that, and that like kind of like the just before the weigh-in, like the last presser, there was like a bit of animosity, and there was Anthony Joshua like put his hand on him and was like calling him a pussy and stuff. I don't know if you remember that. And Klitschko, and then even by the time they got into the ring, Klitschko was kind of antagonizing Anthony Joshua when Anthony Joshua had done his ring walk and got into the ring. And that's when I noticed when AJ has that spite in him, then he fights better. But you need to be able to fight with Dillian White. They couldn't stand each other. We saw that performance. With Klitschko, he went in there with a lot of respect. So that's why I think he got put on his ass, because he gets confused with, let's be friendly and I'll fight you friendly and I'll try and beat you, but being friendly, it doesn't work. It seems like, haven't you noticed that? He doesn't seem to, he has to hate you to really, I mean, he's done all the knockouts before, but it wasn't that, you couldn't see that he hated these people. With Dillian White, you could see he hated him. With Pulev, you could see he strongly disliked him. I don't know if you've noticed that. That's what
you know what, though? Your job is to fight. Just AJ. Look, when AJ hires trainers like Robert Garcia and he won't go over to his gym, that's a warning flag. I'm sorry. I told Robert. I said, Robert, you're not really training him. I told him that when he got the job. I said,
he's
Robert,
not training him. But he wasn't training him. Yeah, but I don't think that was a good matchup.
Whether it is or not, I remember when I found out that he wasn't going to Riverside, I didn't take it seriously.
I knew it. Yeah, I was like, if you're not going to the States, forget it. That was one of my things. It doesn't matter who you're going with. If they're an American trainer, which you need, in my opinion, and you're not going to go over to America, you're not going to take yourself out of your comfort zone. He's been too comfortable all of his career, meaning, it's always been, been catered for. You can train here, Team GB, this and that, everything's nice. Yeah, you got to go to the grit, mate. And every good fighter's done that. Lennox Lewis did it, Klitschko did it and went with, I'm not saying that Manuel Steward's setup was groggy, but I mean, it was in the pits. Do you know what I mean? Like, you go where the trainer's from, not vice versa. But yeah, I wasn't too happy with the Robert Garcia thing, to be honest.
Look, he did go to Derek James's training camp. My view is this. You actually want to do something long-term. Get him a fight in summer and say, Anthony, you're going back there by the end of May.
Who do we pick? Steve?
Hopefully not Dillian White, but get him a live body. Because again, my question would be to everyone involved is this: do you want to beat Deontay Wilder, or do you just want the payday? I'm so sick of fans and people acting like the results don't matter. It matters. I don't care about your payday. I don't get a piece of it. I'm not a shareholder here. Like when people say, well, Ryan Garcia has to be given credit because no, he doesn't. He lost the fight. He gets all the money. I don't get any of it, so I have to live off the result. That's what I give credit for. Did you win or lose? And when you give up every advantage and you fight the way you did and just capitulate, I'm sorry. I'm not going to give him the Nobel Peace Prize. So results matter. To us fans, it's the only thing that should matter because we're not getting paid a percentage. So my view is this. Again, are you trying to get to the Deontay Wilder payday, which you can do by not fighting and just making your plans for Saudi Arabia, or you can actually try to really win the fight by getting him a fight in the summer and working on things.
Right. Yeah.
Still fighting to this day. To this day. To this day. You just sit here, you don't know what I'm.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just trying to think who, because Anthony Joshua has fought a lot of the guys that are still floating about. What about just chucking a Dempsey McKean that he was thinking
Yeah,
of fighting?
anybody. I mean, look, I know they have to be sellable, but I don't know how sellable Jermaine Franklin was. But again, Jermaine Franklin did give a good go against Dillian White.
Yeah, that was.
You know, again, I don't know who you get, but again, I would surmise in a situation like this, 90% of the tickets are sold by one guy. That's Anthony Joshua.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know if it almost doesn't matter if he fights, but I think the process of going through another training camp and being able to implement whatever Derek James wants is important.
This is.
You know, because we are talking about a fighter that still seems to have some psychological scars. Technically still has to work out a few things. There's nothing like live action, though. I will never change my mind. You cannot change my mind on it. You can disagree with me. I really don't care. But if you look at Anthony Joshua the last 4 or 5 years, basically he became a once-a-year fighter. And that's even a years without the pandemic. So I don't want to hear the Eddie Hearn making excuses.
Yeah.
Okay.
He fought in the pandemic, though.
Yeah.
But even pre-pandemic, it was just once a year. I don't know how. Imagine just imagine, Steve, that you like at Snack, you just wrote one article a year.
Well, you know, it's funny, LadyChann, it's really interesting you say
We'd
that.
love that. No, I'm joking.
No matter what you do in life, if you do not practice it and sharpen
Steve,
your
you did get the
tools.
joke, man. The joke flew over your head, mate. Wake up, Steve. I said, we'd love that.
You know what? So would a lot of other fans. But
no, I'm joking.
There's an actor who's gotten really famous because he did a show out here on HBO called Succession. Name is Brian Cox, and I'm sure much of your audience is very familiar with him because I guess he's from England, right? Theater actor.
I don't know who he is.
Brian Cox. He played Logan Roy on Succession. My favorite character.
I don't know what
television. They just killed him off. But Brian Cox recently did an interview where he said, "As an actor, I love all my roles. And whether I'm the star or a supporting cast or just a background." And they said, why? Because to be good at this, you have to do it. He goes, I am not an actor that believes I can do one role a year and be a good actor as I want to be in the future.
Right.
So to me, there are no big roles or small roles. There's just roles that have more lines than others. But to be good at anything you do, you have to do it.
You got to practice
consistently.
Yeah.
And I am a firm believer. I don't have a gray area in this like a lot of other people.
No,
you're either getting better or you're getting worse. You're either sharpening the tool or it's getting dull.
It's getting blunt. Yeah. I'm with you as well. I just can't believe that most of these so-called high-level boxers are just fighting once a year. That's just it's not on, to be honest. So all right. So with Anthony Joshua fighting Deontay Wilder, I think we loosely touched on this. Are you going with Wilder that knocks Joshua out? Can you see both?
Yeah, I mean, that seems to be the consensus.
I don't see both ways that each fighter can win. So I looked at how Wilder could, and I looked at how. Do you want to hear my little mini breakdown? My mini breakdown is that, well, Joshua is perfect for Wilder to land the right because Joshua likes to fight at mid-range, and that's where Wilder launches his right at mid-range, usually coming forward. So Joshua's going to have to either do the Fury tactic, back foot, collapse pocket, push back, or I wouldn't trust him to just try and, you know how he boxed Andy Ruiz the second time, just to try to box on the outside, because Wilder will get you that way. So mid to long, Wilder, you give Wilder too much space, he'll come forward and find that right. You stand within that mid range, that's perfect for him. He'll land that right. Don't know if you'll get up, Joshua. Don't know if you'll even go down. Don't know if you'll sleep. Don't know if you'll snooze. I don't know. But that's as far as I see it with that side. Do you agree, disagree?
Yeah, I mean, my view is in this fight, Anthony Joshua could be winning every second and then lose it in a split second. You know, I remember Deontay Wilder telling a group of us reporters before the rematch with Fury. It was a second fight. I was right in front of him. He said, "Look, here's the difference. Other fighters against me have to be perfect for 36 minutes. I only have to be really perfect for one."
Yeah, probably one.
And so but that can get him into trouble. Here's the pathway for Anthony Joshua to win that fight. Have a long, hard jab and be consistent with it and bury your chin in that front shoulder and understand distance and spacing.
I don't know, Steve. I don't know. I can't trust him enough. And you know, I love Anthony Joshua, you know, but I still have to keep it a stack against Wilder with that, like to keep Wilder behind the jab. Don't know.
I agree, but again, you can't perfect anything if you don't do it a lot. So we're going to go right back to that. But I will say this: we don't know what version of Deontay Wilder really exists right now. That Hellenius fight, we found out nothing. The last time we really saw Wilder, he took a frightful beating against a very big man in Tyson Fury. And they matched him very carefully with the former sparring partner who got blasted out with one punch. So, again, we actually are making some assumptions that Deontay Wilder is still the guy that when he was making 10 title defenses, knocking everybody out. Yeah. But I do think this is going to be interesting with Anthony Joshua. Look, don't forget this. He can also hurt Deontay Wilder.
Oh, yeah, of course.
People keep forgetting that.
Yeah.
People keep forgetting that. The question is, will Anthony have enough wherewithal, and will he be able to keep his composure inside the pocket to let hard punches go at the correct distance and spacing with intent and accuracy? Because that takes composure.
Yeah.
That's the question.
Yeah, it's an interesting fight, but it's a fight now. The great you're a good segue. I just tell you that, you know. The great segue is in the boot. He's locked up now. Well, he's out. He bonded out. I'm just exaggerating, sensationalizing shit. Will we see the fight if Wilder's gone and got a gun charge? Got a gun charge with 9 milli.
Look. I don't think it's really a thing. And can I just say something? Based on the carjackings that have been happening in big cities in America, I don't blame him. You could say all you want about how we should have security. You should have look. It's easy for anyone else to say that, but with what is going on in American cities with crime, and specifically with crimes like carjacking, and with the luxury vehicle that he is driving, I cannot rip him. I do not care what anyone thinks about gun control. I am a realist. Now, where I will criticize him is if you're going to drive, you probably should not be intoxicated on any drug. But that's a whole separate issue. But do I think that Deontay Wilder is going to the big house for a while? I don't see it.
No, listen what I think, right? Deontay Wilder's already been right. So shouts out to Ring IQ Julius. He did he looked into Deontay Wilder's past criminal history. I didn't realize he had a domestic battery from 2013.
Yeah.
I remember he got stopped. Yeah. So I remember he also got stopped by the police and with weed in his vehicle as well a few years back. Again, he likes to smoke the weed. I don't really know that. Maybe that's why he got beaten up on the, when he thought he was drugged in the second fight. He probably was. He smoked weed. I heard the locker room smell of weed. And that's all. And that's what somebody told me off the record. No cap. It was like that on that second Fury fight, before Deontay Wilder came out, that locker room stank of weed.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yes, very interesting. But then wouldn't that have flagged up on his thingamajig? What I thought it was like that maybe he inhaled as a third party. Like they was all smoking weed, bar Deontay Wilder in the locker room, but he could have been inhaling it, and that's why he felt a little bit thing. Because the person is a very reliable person, and they was like, CHANN, that was stank of weed.
I am stunned at the commission because you have inspectors there that would allow that. I'm not doubting anything that you tell me, but I'm just saying that you haven't. I've been in locker rooms. I've had to be embedded as a reporter.
How is it? Yeah, how is it? Is it?
Well, basically, look, they are there to overlook your hand wraps to make sure that you're wrapping your hands with fresh equipment to make sure you're not ingesting anything that's illegal. In fact, when they take the drug test, they go all the way to the point where they're in that stall as you give your urine sample.
Yeah.
I mean, they are there as a set of eyes, and if someone is smoking up a blunt like Cheech and Chong, I have a hard time believing they would allow it.
But if it's your part of your entourage smoking in there, would the commission be like, no, they're not allowed to
No,
smoke?
I don't see how. Here's the problem. Let's say it's secondhand smoke, and the fighter then fails a drug test. I don't think that's allowed. I would be stunned if any commission saw a guy with an illicit drug of any sort would not say, all right, you got to get out of here.
And they was there. It was like,
right, well.
I know, and I'm with you. Now that you've put it into that perspective, so I'm like, yeah, for real. How would that slide? But it's just because who this person is. If it was someone else, I'd be like, whatever. But he was like, Chan, that stank of weed there. I was like, really? But hey ho, we shall say nada. But anyway, so you got nicked. We call it in England. You got nicked. Now you got a concealed weapon. Now, if you've already got it can either be a misdemeanor or a felony. So if he falls into the felony, I mean, you can just get a bit of you're gonna get probation where you could probably just do some community service, a $10,000 fine. Who cares when you're a multi-millionaire like that? It's like, yeah, I'll give you 20 just for good measure. But what I'm thinking of, travel restrictions, maybe. I
don't know. I mean, look,
short of 3 years
shooting a gun at somebody, something like this. He's not the first guy that's a celebrity or well-known that's had an issue like this. I have a hard time believing this will be anything more than some administrative fines. Like you said, maybe some other things that constitute a penalty.
Service. Yeah, community service.
I look, I'm not a lawyer though either, but I get the sense this will be another one of those things. And look, we literally had a guy, Gervonta Davis, that went through a lot of things that we knew about or was reported before his fight with Hector Luis Garcia. Yeah. Guess what? Come January 7th, he fought.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, and he did, and that was a serious shock. But I just don't know how you can just get, like, for me, it was, I know what you're saying, because you have to have, you got, like, where you lot are, it's mad, it's crazy. Gun crime is crazy. But I don't care, you're a multi-millionaire. You should have had close guard protection riding in the whip. You should have chose a different whip to ride in. Because that's scary.
But LadyChann, let me just say something. That's victim blaming.
No.
I don't like
and shamer. I am.
I don't. To me, look, the guy can drive whatever car he wants. He could drive a Volkswagen Bug for all. I remember those cars. But anyway, I get it. But I'm just telling you, there's a lot of carjackings that do not go reported by the mainstream media in our country for whatever reason. And when you are a celebrity, you better be on guard. Now, should he have his own version of Secret Service? I guess.
Yes, have a car service, Steve. Like, I've seen lesser people do it.
I guess, but look, athletes buy cars so that they can drive them.
Yeah, I know, but you have to use your discretion. Right, I'm going to LA. I don't really want to use close guard protection. So that Pimp My Ride whip that looked like Exhibit pimped it out. Should I really bring that to LA? Maybe no. Maybe I'll have
probably a rental. Let's be honest. There's a lot of celebrities rent those cars.
No, that's his car.
If the times that I'm in Hollywood where I meet up with people, I have meetings, I have dinner, I see a lot of fancy 6-figure cars. And you know what? Nobody has security. Nobody. Really, they don't. So I don't know. I think that part, it's easy to say what we should do, but Deontay Wilder has a right to drive a nice car with the expectation that I won't get robbed. Now, is that a realistic expectation in 2023 in a major city? Maybe it's not. No, you're not in the UK, and you didn't adhere to any of the rules. You had your license plate semi-concealed. You had your tint too dark. Plus it's a Rolls Royce that's pimped out. That's like camo colored weird. Like, it was just too much. You're doing the most. That's doing the most. And then you've got a concealed weapon in. Oh, you come from Alabama to LA. Of course you're going to.
and you're smoking weed in it. Come on, no. Sorry, that's a fail across the board. I can't. I don't don't understand how you're making sense of it. I can only make sense that you brought a gun, but you're too rich, Deontay. Your net worth's about $30-40 million at least. I mean, no. We can go a car service. We can take an incognito car. We can have a nice car that's a backup car, but it meets requirements. This is the States. You guys have 50 different laws in your land mass. We just have really near enough one. So we just have to adhere to one. So it's pretty cohesive. He knows this. You can't bring your stand your ground laws or whatever to LA or New York. You can't do it. I know that as an English person. So why don't you? Shouts out to me. Lawyer Shan. I'm the lawyer now, Steve. I'm the lawyer.
Yeah.
Steve even went quiet.
I don't even know what to say. Look, I live in the real world. I find it hard to really be that critical of Deontay Wilder. That's all I'm going to say.
You love him, Steve. You love him.
I actually don't hate Deontay. I think Deontay's a bright, colorful character that brought a little bit of fun to the heavyweight division. I'm not one of these fanboys. I'm not one of those bomb squad guys. But again, I live in the real world here.
Yeah. I mean, he gets on my nerves, but I just don't think he's above reproach. I would say that about any of these athletes that keep getting caught with these guns and that. Yeah, I've seen it, and the track runners with the weed and that, and you're running track now. You're testing positive for weed. It's not performance enhancing.
Well, I agree. Look, again, for him to smoke weed and be
I don't care
impaired in any way while driving. Now that I'm very critical of.
Yeah,
that is something that you cannot excuse.
Yeah, maybe he's used to doing that, but no, it's not a great thing. This is what I'm saying. Like, he did it all wrong. He did. Don't you see that it was just a bit disastrous? Like, he just did it in Alabama. They probably know his car. They probably like, yes, Deontay. They probably don't stop him. He smokes the weed, lean back and driving. It's cool, but you can't. I just don't understand how he thought he could get away with that in LA. I just don't know. I've been to LA once, and yeah, it's a no. And I was downtown, and I knew to stay my ass where I needed to stay my ass, and I went there for work. Yeah, no, I know the rules. I don't smoke anyway, but I know the rules. So should Deontay Wilder. Give yourself a little break, mate. But okay, so you don't see that as that it won't infringe on the possible fight. Cool. I don't want to hear nothing, because otherwise this fight is just cursed, and I don't want to hear no more of it if they don't get this fight over the line in Saudi. And that's what, bringing up to Saudi, that's a part of. So the Saudi showdown is Fury fumbling the bag.
I don't know. I mean, look, he's an infuriating guy because he contradicts himself every other sentence. But I expect him to fight sometime in the summer. I'm hearing July. I hope it's Zhang Zhilei. I'd much rather see that than Andy Ruiz. And then hopefully in December we get these fights. It seems to be the only way in terms of satisfying everyone involved is to go to the Middle East, where they'll pay an exorbitant fee for fights that really aren't worth what they're paying for, but they seem to have a different agenda up there. So, I'm actually more interested to see, is Tyson Fury going to take that risk of fighting a big, raw bone punching southpaw in Zhang Zhilei?
I know. We was laughing about that the last time, Steve, when we was talking about Saudi. You can't even get a drink there and all of that. I know.
I don't know how Deontay would have survived. I don't know how Deontay got up there last time without being detained. Jeez.
Don't you dare try bring no weed there, Deontay. Yeah. You be stoned in the town centre by sunrise. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? They don't fucking play. I know. I think, I'm with you like this. If I was a fighter, all day and every day, twice on a Sunday, you want that bag from Saudi. But you keep saying, as a fight fan, it just, I want to go. I want to go for the for this little thing that's happening. But I'm like, because there's also laws on women, so it's
all your nice dresses. Don't wear them. Don't pack them.
Wear them, Steve. Yeah, not showing an ounce of skin, even wearing a tank top's against the law.
I mean, look, Dana White says it, and I don't disagree. Boxing treats all of its big events like a going out of sale clearance. He ain't wrong. I mean, if that's the whole plan now, is just take every good fight to the Middle East, you're going to erode the fan base over time. Won't happen immediately. Won't be a short-term thing. But you keep doing it over and over. It's the same thing that happened with casinos in the United States. Mm-hmm. We used to have a lot of fight cities in America: Chicago, Miami, Philadelphia, right? But as soon as more and more fights started going to Atlantic City, then really to Las Vegas,
right?
Those cities that I mentioned, they're not fight cities anymore.
Yeah, that's true. My sister lives in Jersey as well, and all of that. But Atlantic City, didn't they used to have fights in Atlantic City and that?
A lot, especially when a guy by the name of Donald Trump was really the big guy out there.
Correct.
There was a full decade or so where maybe about 5 to 8 years, where Donald Trump did a lot of the Tyson fights. He did Holyfield against Foreman. He did Duran against Iran Barkley. I don't know whatever happened to that Donald Trump guy, but he was a major player in boxing for about a full decade.
Yeah. You see him he'd have the photos with them and everything. Yeah, you're right. I haven't heard anyone bring that up at all, actually. You're the first person. And now that you did it, you sparked bits of my memory of, that's right.
And now they one commercial, LadyChann. Yeah. I remember as a kid, this was the summer of '88 when Michael Spinks and Mike Tyson fought for all the marbles. It was by far the biggest fight on the calendar. And they had this one commercial for the pay-per-view or the closed circuit where Mike Tyson and Michael Spinks were squaring off against each other. And all they said was, they panned to each of their faces, is, "Thank you, Mr. Trump." Yeah, thank you, Mr. Trump. Because he was putting up all of this money. And so Donald, people used to like Donald Trump back then, but it became this thing where both fighters said, "Donald, you're a good man. You're making us millionaires."
Yeah.
So he was a major player. Without him, you could not write the history of boxing really without at least a little page or two about
with Donald Trump in there, and even and the same thing that he was inserted himself in hip hop. There was bars. Hip hop artists used to be in some of the videos. He used to be like cuddled up with like Snoop Dogg and all of them, like Trump Tower, New York.
LadyChann, they did a study on this before he became president, and again, this is not a political statement. This is a statement of fact that there was a period of time in the 80s and 90s, all the way up until the 2000s, that about 90% of the references to Donald Trump in hip-hop lyrics were positive.
All positive, Steve.
Yeah, everyone wanted to be Trump. Everyone wanted to be rich like Trump. They wanted to live his lifestyle. They wanted to hang around him. Something happened. All say
that Trump Towers, he picked them up and give it pro bono for them.
Yeah.
Give it up. Yeah. I remember. I remember it.
I mean, Donald Trump's an interesting guy, but if you watch a lot of the fights from like late 80s all the way to the late 90s, a lot of Trump signage is on those fights.
Crazy. Yeah, that's crazy. That this will be a good segment when I clip to say, about Donald Trump being, we'll probably get to it when we get demonetized.
Yeah. You might get banned here for this.
It's so bad. They'd be like, get her off. Yeah, but no, that's an important thing. That shouts out to you, Steve, for even remembering that. Because nobody said that. Even all other boxing historians, nobody's brought that up. And that is an absolutely Fendi fact. But what I was saying with Tyson Fury, with the fumble in the bag, he is so-called priced himself out again. We do this. So the rumbling, I don't know if you can confirm the rumblings on the wall that there's like a 400 milli bag. Well, and each of Tyson Fury wants 150 out of 400. Yeah,
LadyChann, I've been told by people in the know, they've created a monster where Tyson's become not downright impossible, but very close to it in terms of his financial demands. So, I mean, the guy that once said money doesn't matter, and he claimed he gave all his money away for the homeless, as your folks would say, it's all bollocks. And so he likes to buck as much as anyone else, which is fine. But let's just be honest about it. You're not a charitable organization. In my view, is this: at what point do people just say, "Okay, Tyson, you don't want to fight for hundreds of millions? We'll just walk away and make fights"? I think there comes a point in time the game has to move forward. with or
Thank
without you.
because he's
know.
holding up the bloody division at this point. So the only thing why he won't get stripped because the fight that he'll have in June will be, servicing his mandatory obligations, right?
Yeah, and look, he holds the WBC belt. Suleiman and that organization, they want to be involved with the biggest name fighters because again, they're paid off a percentage. I believe 2.5% is
3%.
their sanctioning fee. So look, they don't want to take a cut either. Everyone's in business, but I wish it was more cut and dry that fighters had to fight at least 3 times a year to defend their titles. That's more closer to 1 or 2 nowadays. But as for Tyson Fury, we'll see what happens. The Zhang Zhilei fight, I'm actually surprised has gained this much traction because that's a dangerous big guy, and he's southpaw. And he's had some issues with left-handers.
Yeah, he has. He has done, but I still feel like Zhang is shouts out to Zhang, because I underestimated him, mate. Like the Joe Joyce thing, I thought Joyce was going to go the distance, but out point, because that's why I thought why he came in light. I was like, oh, he wants the box. Joe Joyce wants the box. Zhang beat him down. What did you think?
And I like Joe Joyce, but Lady Chan, within the first minute or so, when Joe Joyce got buzzed in the first round, you're like, uh-oh, this ain't the Juggernaut's night. You could just tell. And they got hurt again in the second.
Yeah, the second round.
And then he looked like he was underwater with ankle weights and hand weights attached to his gloves. He was even slower and more ponderous than usual.
No.
And I'm actually glad they stopped the fight when they did, because that was going to become a full-on beating.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. In the end, because I'm one of those people that I want you to fight to the death near enough. But for that one, I was like, yeah, stop that. You can't even see. It's clear he can't see. I could see when I was calling it live, and I could see the doctor saying, what fingers you got up? He was like, the doctor had 1, and he was like, 3. I was like, yeah, this is a wrap, mate. They said, yeah, Zhang beat him down. He was so methodical with it. Very economical with his punches, but very accurate when he did. He did have that little dip, like maybe maybe he took off round 4.
Yeah, there was one round where Joe Joyce tried to gather some momentum and threw a lot of punches.
I think
but
3.
His punches were so slow.
And they didn't do anything.
They didn't seem to really dent Zhang.
What do you think happened? Why?
Well, look, that type of isn't he 38?
Yeah.
See, that's one thing. So he's an old, younger heavyweight in the sense that he doesn't have that many fights, but he's already closer to 40 than he is to 30.
Yeah.
So Father Time's already creeping up. That style where he takes a lot of punches, that'll age a fighter. And physical erosion can come quickly, or it can come slowly, or it can come all at once.
Yeah.
And I get the sense that for Joe Joyce, that he is now going backwards physically.
That's what I'm thinking as well. So I don't know so we've taken him out of, he thought he was a top 3 heavyweight, by the way, with going into this fight. I never had him at top 3. I wasn't even sure I think maybe we had him like number 5, but now we've demoted him anyway.
Look, I thought he was certainly top 10. He's one of my favorite heavyweights because he throws punches 10. And he's fun, but I kind of knew what this was. And I'm not going to lie to you. In my view, if I'm the management, I don't enforce that rematch clause. I don't see that fight going any differently, Lady Chan.
No. But he's got nothing to lose. So if you don't what else do you do? You ain't got time to build back. You're 38. Just get which I do believe Zhang beats him
10 out of 10 times.
9.5. Yeah. Just take the second loss and leave, I guess. And, I don't know. He should have left Frank Warren, in my opinion. Anyway, I don't think he was doing well there anyway. But I want to get through these before we have to lose you. Okay, so we've got the Joe Joyce knocked off. That was just actually thrown in. The WBC using Russia as a way to favour Canelo by blocking Bivol Berdyaev.
Yeah, what a load of crap. Look, you're not a political organization. Stay out of it. And I like Mauricio, but this is just grandstanding and it's virtue signaling. And here's the fact about Dmitry Bivol. If you look at his heritage and his lineage,
I love him.
I believe that his father was Moldovan, and his mother, I believe, was Korean. And he was
Korean.
actually born in Kyrgyzstan.
Kurdistan, yeah.
So I don't get.
Yeah,
I
so
mean, I don't know. Is he
and you know
really
what I love
Russian?
him,
Russian?
innit? You know I love him, innit? I love him. I love that is my crush. Everyone thinks it's like Anthony Joshua. It's actually Dimitri Bivol. God, I love him.
Yeah, and so I don't understand why you are punishing this guy. And Artur Beterbiev is Russian, but he's lived in Quebec for the last decade. It's just stay out of politics.
Yeah, he's lived in it's that but Beterbiev. I know. It's just not fair. So I think they're doing it to favour Canelo because they want Canelo to, keep his WBC strap.
Yeah, maybe. Although, again, maybe Canelo really doesn't want to fight a light heavyweight anymore. I just think this is, again, Mauricio thinking he's doing the right thing. And nobody there is telling him the truth that, hey, Mauricio, we are not the UN. We're not. Let's just stick to favoring the PBC fighters and not letting them enforce their mandatories. My God, I don't get it. Sports should be a refuge from all this.
Yeah, of course it should be. Yeah,
I don't see Bivol on the front lines with an AK-47 guarding Moscow. It's not like he's not a soldier; he's a prize fighter. So I don't know what. I don't know what's going to happen there. But Mauricio. I like Mauricio, but he frustrates me.
Yeah. So will they apply that same mantra to when if Bivol has to fight Canelo for the rematch? Doesn't matter if it's at 175 or 68. You got it's going to be if it's at 168. Okay, if it's at 175, Dimitri Bivol is a title holder. So really, that his belt can't be on the line or anything like that.
Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do. Well, hold on. I spoke to Bivol's manager yesterday. It looks like they're going to try to get a tune-up fight for July or August. They don't know what's going to happen with Canelo. That thing's all muddled. Let's see how Canelo looks against John Ryder in a few days and see what happens.
Yeah, what's your prediction on
that? Canelo in 7. I actually think Ryder's a pretty respectable fighter. My next column, I just wrote it about an hour ago.
Yeah,
I give Ryder some credit. Look, he's a top 10 super middleweight. He's had some good wins. I thought he beat Callum Smith back in 2019. He's respectable. He is respectable.
Good power.
He's a hard-nosed fighter. He's not going to be hard to find. He's going to give it his best.
But he will get stopped, in my opinion.
Yeah, so I don't, before we start making plans for Canelo in the second half of this year, let's see how he looks in about 72 hours or so.
Yeah, we're going to do the weigh-in and all of that. That's what I want to see. He looks parched and dehydrated. So you think round 7, that's your prediction? Stop it.
Yes.
Yeah, be interesting. I want to see what Canelo really looks like. I haven't really been watching. I haven't been paying attention. I haven't really been looking at this lead up for it. But I mean, it's in Guadalajara. Everyone's got a day off or two.
Yeah, and we'll see what happens. As for Bivol, I asked Vadim Kornilov, the manager, if you don't get Canelo, if that does not happen, what's the big fight? What's the goal? He said Beterbiev. He said, or the winner of Beterbiev Callum Smith. Because remember, the purse bid happened, Top Rank won it. Yeah. That is the BC mandatory. I still have my doubts if that fight can be put together this year based on the fact you have competing networks and you have rival promoters.
What, with Bivol and Beterbiev?
Beterbiev, yes.
Yeah. But what are you thinking about this conspiracy with this 15 grand just who won the bid? By 15,000
Top rank.
There's a mole in the camp. I don't care.
Yeah, I mean, all's fair in love and war. Look.
Fire everyone, Eddie. Fire everyone. I would. That is so clear and evident. Who outbid someone by 15 grand? Like, that's just like me saying, Steve, I'm like, they've bid $100. You come in at 101 and 50 cents.
Yeah, I know. Well, again, I have no proof of it, but I have my suspicions. But that just means for American fans, that'll be on ESPN instead of the Zone. So I think more people probably have access to ESPN to the Zone.
Yeah, and either way, we get it anyway. I mean, yeah, do you mean Eddie's been losing a good string of purse bids for the last, I would want to say, like, for the last, like, year and change. So, lost the Dillian White one. He lost the Teofimo Lopez one. He's lost his fighters, other people's. He really hasn't won a whole string of purse bids. So I don't know if it's a part of getting, like, blackballing him in that way, or if some of them were legitimate. Well, I believe some of them were legit. Most of them were legitimate ways that he just was outbidded. The Babich one outbidded.
Yeah, but sometimes you don't mind losing a purse bid. You know why?
Mm-hmm.
That means someone else has to pay your guy. It's not always the worst thing in the world.
Yeah, exactly. It's true. But it's only the worst thing in the world, like with Buatsi, when he had Buatsi and Frank Warren won the bid, and then it was like, no, we're not doing the fight.
Yeah, Buatsi doesn't want to fight anybody. Good grief.
Yeah. God, that one I'm done with. It's just like whatever the weather. What a waste of amateur career in Olympics and everything. It's just like, yeah, it's a shame what's happening with Buatsi. I don't know. Also, Conor Ben is now saying, I handled things wrongly. I handled things wrongly, yeah, and I could have handled it better. And yeah. Now you're telling us, you damn fool.
I don't see how he ever regains the trust of the public. I think his whole side tried to weasel out of it. And there was a movement, I believe, politically from the administrators to say you're not getting away with it. They wanted to set an example that those who test positive for drugs will not simply be able to weasel their way out of it.
Yeah. So he's on a temporary ban, and I'm hearing that he's working alongside with UCAD, and it probably be maybe he may get implemented up a real 2-year ban. I'm sure he's fine.
Yeah. You do the time, you do the crime, you do the time. That's just the way it works.
That's true. And also, so I want to get your so you did Canelo Ryder, Taylor, Teofimo, stupid idiot Lopez. I'm fed up with him. What do you mean?
Yeah, I mean, Teo's got to realize one thing: you're not as smart as you think you are. And I've said this for a while. You're not deep. You're not Sun Tzu. Just shut up and fight. We're
not on his. We're not his. Black people's not his friends. Just for a little minute now. Steve.
Yeah, that's fine. He'll get over it. But I just look him from the time he beat Lomachenko. It's just been about greed and hubris. They've never thought about the big picture. No one's ever told the truth in that camp. They've never once actually said, "Hey, let's get better at boxing and improving our craft." I mean, and they act like they're victims of the system when they're the ones who did the end around with the purse bid with Triller, telling the president of Top Rank to go fillet himself or fillet him.
Oh, SMP,
right, and then losing a fight to a fighter that you were heavily favored to, and then all the time they keep thinking like there's a conspiracy. No, you just aren't as good as you thought you were, or you underachieved. That's on you. And then the scapegoat a company because they have a group of bright young prospects who happen to be black, like it's some agenda. Yeah. I think Teofimo and that whole camp should look at themselves and then get a 2x4 and hit themselves over the head and just say, stupid, 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 stupid. Because that's what you are.
They did get the 2x4. Do you remember when he had that wrestler guy or that big guy that was punching him?
Right, and then they complain about, I had a hole in my body. Yeah, I wonder where that came from. It's the dumbest thing. I used to be really close with that camp and that family, but even I checked out. I just put up my hand, I rung the bell, and I said, okay, boss, let me off here. I'm off the bandwagon.
Yeah. I mean, that dad is just my son. Yeah, you need to eat that. He needs to be get rid of. The dad. It's the dad, mate. It's the dad. Yeah, the dad's just off. He's a big downfall for his son. For real. I don't know where they're going, but what's your prediction for him to fight Josh Taylor? Because in my opinion, God, it's pretty much, should it be a 50-50 fight? Because I feel like
I'd like to know what Josh Taylor is going through in terms of making weight. We haven't seen him in a while. Let's be honest. I thought he lost the Catterall fight. I thought he looked terrible. That's another guy. He doesn't fight enough. Josh Taylor. Look at his last 4 years. He's not a very active fighter. And again, I think that blade has gotten dull. The consensus seems to be that Taylor should win, and Teofimo has shown. And again, I know it's a different style. Sandor Martin, he did not handle that southpaw style very well. But you know, I don't get. I get the sense Top Rank made this fight because they said, okay, winner, we're gonna tolerate your nonsense. We're gonna tolerate whatever we have. Loser, get the fuck out of here. I really believe that.
Yeah, and write him off. That's in the clause. Do you think that Teofimo Lopez is chinny?
Not really. You know, the Sandor Martin knockdowns were kind of like I don't think he was ever hurt. I thought he had poor balance and he lunged.
Yeah, is it footwork? You blame it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how well he catches. It's been okay because he took a lot of punches from Kambosos, ran into a right hand in round 1.
Yeah,
but I'm just telling you, Teofimo, when he was on top of his game, I thought was a spectacular young talent.
So did I.
But when you do not work at the craft and you don't take it and you think about everything else but actually boxing, this is what happens.
Yeah.
And I still remember LadyChann in that first round against Kambosos when he ran into that right hand. It just struck me like, it's over.
It's me too. It's always them first rounders. We did that with Jojo.
And my view is there comes a point in time where young fighters have to actually focus on boxing.
Yeah.
I hear a lot of young fighters after a good win talk about pay-per-view. And I'm like, you know what? You're a million miles from that.
Yeah.
You are just beginning. So I just think there needs to be better priorities, but there needs to be truth tellers in these camps. And a lot of these managers are so afraid of losing their hold, they don't have the balls to tell the truth.
Yeah, and they let them relish in their victory, or like I think they just get too gassed. It's true, they've just got yes men around them.
Yeah.
And it's sad, and these are only like 25-year-old lads. But talking about 25-year-old lads, Haney now going to be fighting Lomachenko. When's he fighting Lomachenko? Is that May 20th?
Yeah, it's May 20th.
Yeah.
And I'll be at that fight. And look, if Haney probably has one more fight left in his body at 135, I think it's going to be actually a very tough fight.
Mm-hmm.
I would hope that Lomachenko actually comes out very aggressively and none of that downloading bullshit. I hate that downloading. Yeah. I've never seen a guy get so much credit for not doing anything and losing 4 rounds in a row. Yeah. And people say he's downloading. No, he's not. He's losing. What are you talking about? So none of that downloading bullshit. Get out there and fight. Get on your front foot. Put Devin Haney back on his heels and work the body. This is still a real fight. But I am sick and tired of Lomachenko and his cheerleaders talking about downloading. Bro, download music on your Napster file. This is boxing. Jesus Christ.
Computer. Establish a security code for access to all functions previously transferred to Bridge.
Enter code.
173467321 Charlie 32 789777 643 Tango 732 Victor 73117888 732 476789764376 lock.
It's Lomachenko.
And he's down 40-36 on the scorecards after all that.
We don't want to see that Lieutenant Data stuff. We don't. Don't be downloading fuck all, please. Leave us alone with that. We want fast-paced, fast action. I'm looking forward to that fight. Who have you got winning?
Oh.
I'm getting all your predictions because I'm getting Steve's predictions. We're going to give Rummy's Corner a run for his money, wouldn't we, Steve?
You know, I am tempted to pick Loma, but I'm not sure yet. But I just want to know what Loma's mindset is. Because if he thinks what he usually does is going to work, it's not. It's not. And I'm just telling you, he's going to get 190. That's going to be 9-3. There's a pathway to win this fight if he's aggressive early on and often. I think it's a real fight. I think people are really writing off Loma as if he's completely shot. And I just think he had a really bad night against a guy that was very familiar with him in Jermaine Ortiz. Yeah.
I mean, I said if this was Devin and Loma maybe 3 years ago, I would have had Loma all day. But I just think that Father Time is not also on his side either, to be fair.
Yeah.
He's 36. And not saying that he's definitely just going to Devin Haney's going to wipe him off, but I'm leaning towards Devin. I'm definitely leaning towards Devin Haney, to be honest. And lastly, on the docket is Tank the face of boxing, and was Ryan Garcia injured before the fight? Does it matter?
I don't know. Look, you fight the way you fight. If he's injured, he should have pulled out and tried to actually win. That's because if you were truly injured and it affected you, well, then you defrauded the public. If you were injured that much, look, he's one of the more important fighters in the sport. He's one of the faces. I don't think there's always just one, but there's usually 3 or 4 fighters that really matter in every era. And currently, it's him and the heavyweights and Canelo. But let's not go too crazy. He only beat Ryan Garcia. I've never really been that high on Ryan. I always thought Ryan was a lot more sizzle than steak. So whether he was injured or not, it really doesn't matter. You signed up for the fight and you stepped in there, and you got to live with the result. There's no asterisk in this game. The result is the result. So
Joe Goosen is
which is unfair because he didn't really let Joe train him. But then again, Joe's a big boy. He signed up for it. He knew what he was getting into. And when Joe said the week of the fight, well, you really don't train, Ryan. You collaborate with them. Collaborate? What is this? Like I said, what is this? A Shante and Ja Rule?
Yeah,
it's ridiculous. Yeah,
that's ridiculous. He has discipline problems, Ryan Garcia.
He doesn't want to be coached. That's
he's going to bounce around to different people just all the time. I think that's going to happen to him.
Somewhere along the way, people have mixed up his athletic ability for actual boxing talent. He's athletically gifted, but he's very flawed fundamentally.
Yeah,
he can get away with it at a certain point against the guys he's been facing. I was actually surprised that many people thought he was going to beat Tank. I was actually stunned by that.
I know, and I feel embarrassed and I feel ashamed, Steve. I feel ashamed.
You should. You should.
I know, but then I realized that the rehydration thing, and then when I saw him at weigh-in, I was like, I was like, let me stick by my guns. He'll probably just outpoint Tank now. He won't stop him. He'll outpoint. And then when I saw him in the ring, and he still looked gaunt and that, and by that first round, I was like, he's tried to start aggressive, but I was like, no. And then he got dropped, and I was like, yeah, he's going. I called that live, and I knew it was hasta luego. Yeah, we'll see.
And at that point, you could see it happening, and so I'm not, look, if Ryan Garcia never fights again, I wouldn't be too upset. I actually question his overall commitment to the sport. He could have been great for the sport, but that means a certain type of sacrifice and commitment. I mean, think about a guy like Canelo Alvarez. He's going to have about 65 to 70 fights by the time his career is over. That's a man that put in his time and committed to the game.
Yeah, because he's like 62 fights in now. Yeah.
So I have a lot of respect for what he does. No matter, I'm not saying he's faultless. I'm not saying he's perfect. But there's a certain commitment that he has put in terms of advancing not only his own career, but the overall sport. That's a hard-earned designation as the face of boxing that he has earned.
Yeah, okay? I give him that. I do critique him, but for that I don't like his run. I give him the prop.
Ryan Garcia got a lot out of this, and to whom much is given, much is expected. And quite frankly, on the night of April 22nd, I don't think I got much back. Yeah,
and that's gosh, man, that's a shame though. But hey ho, that's how it goes in boxing. And we went through all of the points that I had. Sorry, I had you over just 10 minutes over, but thank you so much, Steve. You've been amazing. I will chop up. This is on members, and then I release it to the non-members on increments. So thank you so much for joining little old me for round 3 bars.
No problem, Lady Chen. You have a great weekend. Enjoy the fights.
Well, and you as well, Steve. Take it easy. Thank you. Steve has left the booth. Come on. Look, when I tap it like that, it comes back on. Yeah, there's an issue. Maybe I need to cover it because, it gets dusty. So that needs to have a cover. But that was a great chop up. Love having Steve in the booth. Joe Goosen. Yeah, they are trash. Trash. Yeah, WBC needs to come better than what they're coming with. But yeah, that was a short and sweet one. God, I can like kick back, kick off your shoes and relax your feet. I've had a really slog of a day, to be honest, but I'm glad. So glad to be inside the house, all day, somewhere I didn't really want to be. But such is life. And I want to thank you guys for coming through. So let's shout out to all the members. Andrew H in the booters. Monica Boxing in the booters. Don Juan in the booters. Ben Adams in the booters. Stephen T in the booters. ERF Boxing Mark. Slim Boxing Commentary Mark Niggly Nash in the booters. Dub Rightside in the booters. R to the left in the booters. D Style, Devil Beats, Jimmy McClenley, Ringside the Reporter in the booters. The Queen, my sister Lisa Bells in the booters. AJ Alday, Charlo in the booters. King TJ, RIP in the booters. Upload type, el primero ya tú sabes. Chickity check check. Alright, we still there. Just checking. Dr. P in the booters. Ricky Ricardo, mi hermano, in the booters. What up, LadyChann? King of King in the booters. Pitbull in the booters. Boxing God in the booters. Sports Heaven, Don Wani, Ahmed in the booters. Hector Garcia, mi esposa número uno, ya tú sabes, in the booters. Zandy in the booters. Donald Banks GP in the booters. Con Shauna Reed in the booters. Karma Serene, the Queen, bars, in the booters. And Al Money, in the bill, in the booters. Guys, you've been amazing. Thank you for joining along me. We just have to side out. We side out. Shouts out again to Steve Kim for joining little old me in the booters. Yeah. So, we're here to tell the truth, your old truth. And, tap into, I will do a couple news reports. Probably tomorrow.
Let's go, baby! Let's go!
Payday. You want payday? I know that. Hey, get the fuck out of here because I'm gonna fuck you out right now, motherfucker.
And I don't care, Deontay Wilder, you knew better. Stop it. To this day, you're lucky that you saw to this day. That they didn't keep you in all day and for the rest of the days that you've got left. Carrying guns, concealed weapons. This is silly. You just did things wrong to this day.
Still fighting to this day. To this day.
You're the son of a preacher, man, and you're trying to move like your blood clot Tupac out here. Stop it, man.
Well, we don't believe you. You need more people.
Just fucking silly. But yeah. We're here to tell the truth. I forgot the whole truth and nothing but the truth to help me. God.
Colonel Jessup, did you order the code red? You don't have to answer that question.
I'll answer the question. You want answers?
I think I'm entitled.
You want answers?
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth.
That's right, because knowledge is where?
Knowledge is key.
That's right, so if we're going,
So if it's one, not bad say nothing because nothing not a one. Lock off your eyes, cost me, make you cough.
Them the like we winna like them. We ran them out of the bootism.
Them not like me, some me not like them. Man, I figure set this straight and clarify. Put fire upon a pagan, aim for the cranium. Turn off the news, there's a bag of lies. Roast raised man, wanna inform up, fun Babylon and every one of them dirty guys. And if they wanna go around the order, I guarantee somebody's dropping flight.
I want to thank all my Shannaholics. Go over to my join page, right? and go and gift a couple people, some members. Gift one person, you can pick and it will randomly select to gift someone a members. I think Lisa Bales you gifted, or Lisa Bales or Dr. P, thank you. You gifted our money. Hopefully you stay on the members only program in the bootism. Thank you for joining the Channaholics.
Me bar rat-a-tat-a-tat-a, brain splatter, what's the matter? Just start, don't try, move the body, try, scatter, pick, patter, in a fall over your body, know your bruise and batter, tap, shatter, you never should do Allah.
That's right. So yeah, if you want to join the Channaholics, or if you want to gift anyone to be in the members only Channaholics, you know what to do. Anyway, I'm that bitch, always been that bitch, you know. Signed up for it. Look, signed up. Yeah, got the job. Didn't think I would, but I'm here, so deal with it.
It's hate, you suck at life, you don't want a round three. Worship the queen and your mic the pass. Keep it real, these chicks couldn't wipe my anyway, style, let's go get Ferrari. I am the ultimate Bengali. These chickens can't even spell that. You hoes bugging, repel that.
So, I think I'm back on Friday. Work with me. Feeling a little ropey, but so we'll see. Because I did want to do the prediction show. We'll see. But I'm going to go live for the Canelo and Ryder fight. That's for sure. We are going to be estoy lista siempre, ya tú sabes. Yeah, so I will be ready. I'm always ready. I was born ready. So we should see. I'm born ready until I'm not ready. Sometimes I'm just ready to be in my bed. But yeah. You know, but guys, I want to thank you guys that was here, and shouts out to you guys on playback, that are watching this, and yeah, shouts out to you. Thank you for joining little old me. So you know we do the sign off anyway. Wrong hand, never a left hand. So I always do the right. Anyway, I'm done. I'm gone. I think it's anyway. I'm gone, isn't it? Look, the ropiness has entered the booties. Don't know how to say bye. Shan, just drop it out. Anyway, I'm gone. Hey girl, it's LadyChann rep nonetheless. Come box with Shan. Gyan. LadyChann and her silly self has left the booties in. Gyan. LadyChann.
Fight.